So, wow, great to be having you today.
Absolutely. Thank you. This
Thank
is
you
a
indeed.
great feat of technology.
Yes.
This is happening.
So, wow, this is the first time we have a Facebook Live, and we are very delighted to have Grammy Awards winner, 2 times Grammy Award winners, Dana Leong with us. So, Dana, may I know where you are now?
Yes. Well, actually, I am sort of hiding out in the mountains of Japan, about 45 minutes south of Hakuba, which was the site of the 1998 Olympics, the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool on your side.
Yeah, it's a little bit cold. Yeah, getting used to trying to do some daily tasks with occasional snow and very few neighbors.
Yes. So we are going through a very different time. It's very unusual. Everybody is somehow indoor, sort of, and many activities is now basically put on hold. And why we're doing this today in particular is I would like to talk with you because I know that you have been in the past few years doing a lot in using music to help people to be more calm and help them to heal. So I think this is the time we need more, just to be with ourselves. And so this is a great opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for opening up this idea to share with all of your friends with Speakers Connect and all of our friends together here on the Dana Leong pages and Tectonic pages. I agree completely. We're living in a world now that is changing by the hour. And, one of the things we often forget about every day as we're in a sense of hysteria with so much going on in the news and so much just trying to keep things together that we have to protect the asset, which is our own body, and that's in two components, our spirit as well as our mind. So if it's all right, I'd like to start off with just a piece of music to help everyone to kind of calm down and center themselves and take a moment to concentrate on their breath and sort of forget about everything else in the world for a second and remember that nourishing yourself is something that you should do every day.
Certainly. Thank you so much.
This is a piece that I worked on with our musicians from tectonicmusic.org, and it's entitled Salutation. We traveled to over 10 countries around the world in order to connect with musicians and have their healing energies contributed to the music. So I hope you enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, thank you.
It's our privilege, definitely, because it's not too many times that we can actually see you perform live, even though we have to do it virtually for the time being. But definitely, thank you so much. It actually helped us to calm down and be more centered.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure and privilege as well to connect with people, at a time where, like we said, everything changes in a moment, right? Only a few weeks ago, I was, playing in front of many people and traveling city to city day by day and, sharing the joy of music. So it's great to be able to find a way to continue on.
Certainly, certainly. And maybe you can let us know more about a project that you have been doing in the past few years, which is very related to how, we as humans to cope with what the nature actually is giving us. So after the earthquake and tsunami in Japan a few years ago, I know that your family has also been affected, and that is the reason why you started the music platform Tectonic. And to create music to help people to go through very difficult period. I think we can definitely get some insights and lessons from your experience from this project. So we would love to hear more about that.
Absolutely. Yes. In 2011, as a lot of people know, there was a massive earthquake and tsunami that destroyed the Sendai region of Japan and left a nuclear reactor very damaged and very harmful for the region in Fukushima. At that time, I felt very helpless, and I wanted to find a way to use music to help remediate those negative impacts felt in those regions. And as I started to research more, I realized that there was a lot of people around the world, specifically artists, whose families had also been affected in many other regions of the world. Places such as Haiti, such as New Orleans, such as Taiwan and Sichuan in China, and the Philippines, and a number of other places. So we started the organization TectonicMusic.org for artists to collaborate and use their music to create positive impact in the world. And over time, we also recognized that we were able to partner with like-minded organizations and platforms that also believed that music was a great way to activate various events and conferences and gatherings as we are doing today. For example, we worked with the United Nations Global Compact during the United Nations Week. They believed that using music at the beginning of many of their important congregations helps to focus people and center their energy. And similar can be said with organizations like Alibaba, the World Economic Forum. We've done a number of initiatives for the Davos Congresses in Asia, and as well as the flagship in Switzerland, as well as Google in Asia, specifically when they have the Pan-Asia meetings in Hong Kong. We were fortunate and thrilled to find out that actually they have their own singing bowl ceremonies put together by their employees. And so those singing bowl practitioners got together every time they had the Pan-Asia meetings, and they would actually start the meetings by everyone being able to sit quietly and kind of enjoying the sound of singing bowls. And they felt that, it didn't solve all the problems and didn't solve all the arguments, but it definitely helped people to be more amicable and more personable throughout their interactions. So yes, I'm a very, very wholehearted believer in the power of music to transform as well as to activate. And that's a great part of why we do what we do.
Thank you so much for that. So would you mind let us know more about how we can be more calm and more centered when we seems to have a lot of news that is very overwhelming, and maybe I think different people or different friends, different families maybe have their own issue. Some actually, I know I have friends who have their family member contracted with the virus, which Fortunately, now it's stable, but still the whole family go through a lot of pressure because of that. And we know that business do suffer. A lot of the projects are now put on hold, and finances may be an issue. And basically, we also just cannot go outside, and a lot of people are now in lockdown. So any tips or any tools we can use to now be more focused and know that there will still be hope on the other side, which will get there soon.
Yes. Well, thank you for that question. It definitely feels like that has a multi-part answer. It's a lot of information to take in, and I feel we are all being bombarded with a lot of emotional bandwidth, as well as a lot of our attention is being demanded as well. So, of course, this is not an easy time, and there is no one solution for that will fit everyone. However, I think what has helped me is to make short lists of what it is that I think I can do within a day, and then go out and accomplish that, and then realize that you are making a difference every time you do that. When you go from there, you can start to recognize what practices are essential to you and beneficial to you. For example, for me, one of the things that I did when I first started, looking at the idea of how to tackle such a large global issue. Back when we were working on building Tectonic, and still are building Tectonic, one of the things I realized really helped me was reserving a little bit of time for myself every day at the beginning of the day to do something like a musical meditation, a little bit of music practice, a workout, whatever that is, that helped me sort of fortify my foundation. And that's from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, and a spiritual standpoint. Also, music is very helpful, of course. One question we got before we started this, even before we had the live feed here, is which gurus and which books and which places can we go to find comfort and to find leadership in a time of crisis. And I really took that to heart and started thinking about that over the last day or so. And I recognized that putting someone on a pedestal is often a form of finding security in your life. And I'm not saying that you need to or you don't need to, but one alternative to looking at life that way is to see what it is that actually, evaluate what it is that actually makes you feel whole and makes you feel alive and feel happy and feel loved. And for everyone, that's going to be different. It can be, the sports that you do. It can be the books that you read. It can be the sound of something, whether it's someone's voice, whether it's the sound of music, the sound of nature. All these things come back and they nourish you. So we can talk more about that in the question and answer, but also through the chat over time, as people can reach out to us through any of the pages at Speakers Connect, or on Facebook, on our own channels as well. What I was going to say after that is, you were asking about businesses. One of the things that I was really impressed with is my uncle. He didn't live in the epicenter affected region of Japan. However, he recognized that there was an economic problem that was sure to last a long time. And so I was very impressed that he took the resources he could and committed longer-term contracts to help the people in the affected regions. For example, the uniforms for his company were committed to being made in and manufactured in the regions of Sendai for 10 years after the earthquake and tsunami hit. Company meals and company parties were committed to being placed on 10-year contracts after the earthquake as well. So catering, things that they could do to support local businesses in the long term are wonderful. As soon as you're able to get out of the immediate crisis, you need to start looking at what you can really do with the resources you have. Maybe you can pull people from your company, you can pull people from your community, you can look at the regions that are really affected. And this has been a year where so many things have already happened and have been almost forgotten because of the severity of what's happening with the virus. But just a few weeks ago, which feels like almost a lifetime ago, people were talking very constantly about the wildfires in Australia, and the same philosophy of how to support the local industries beyond the point of crisis into the longer term still comes into play. And that, of course, is going to come in part from public and private partnerships, but it will also come from multi-stakeholder partnerships as well. So like I said, it is an ongoing process. To bullet point that, make sure that you take a little bit of time for yourself each day to look at what it is you want to achieve. Maybe take some time to ask questions to yourself, and we can actually do a practice. I was planning on doing at the very end of this a meditation that was taught to me by one of our Tectonic advisors, Miss Yvonne Lee, where you simply sit for a minute or a few minutes and you ask yourself one simple question, and you meditate and you concentrate on your breath, and you sit and you relax and you simply focus and try to honestly answer that one question. Now, as you're just getting started, that type of question will be a little simpler if you try to ask and limit yourself to asking maybe a yes or no question, as opposed to, something, what is the meaning of the universe? That might require a little bit of a longer answer.
Certainly. And I can't agree with you more, particularly when we're going through crisis. I think it's very easy for us to be very self-centered, thinking about, wow, the problem is so big, how can I cope with it? And we just very easily focus on the very negative things and the negative energy. And I think one thing I find very helpful is just to see whether there's any way we can help others instead of just focus on ourselves. And suddenly we'll find more way that the world is bigger than just looking at what we're going through. And I think that actually is a way to how to alleviate the situation and the feelings. And definitely we can try, and together we meditate at the end of this chat. But meanwhile, friends, I know that a lot of you have joined us on the Facebook page. I can see a lot of comments. So if you have any questions for Dana and how we can stay calm about his music, please do send your questions to our Facebook page at Speakers Connect, and we'll take the time to answer you as far as we can. So meanwhile, Dana, would you like to share more tips with us, or you would like to maybe share another piece of music with us?
Sure, absolutely. Maybe we can move on to another piece of music. Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay. Actually, the music that we're hearing in the background right now is a piece that we worked on with the great composer and pianist from Japan, Ryuichi Sakamoto, and it is entitled A New Hope. So I'd like to play that.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And it's really a pleasure. And I'm looking at the comments here. We have friends that ask, they would like to know again the project that you have been working on. It is Tectonic. I'll put the link and of Tectonic after this chat so that you can check out more of this project and the music that Dana has created for this project. And we also have Leanne, our dear friend in Australia. She also runs Old Management, which is our bureau partner in Australia. And she's interested to know more about how to work with you for live events when we can meet in person again. So Leanne, we will be sending more information to you after this chat as well. And we are so delighted that you love Dana's music.
Thank you, Leanne. Yes, absolutely. Greetings to Australia.
Yes. So my friend, my friend for many years, I would not say how many years, Josephine, she thanked you for the music and said that music is her therapy. So won't you mind let us know, say for example, if we are kind of like going through a very tough day and we would like to calm down and we may not on that day have a live chat with you. So any music that you would recommend or how we can, any practices that we can implement very quickly that we can help us to be more focused, more centered and calm ourselves in that particular moment and the emotion.
Sure. Like I said before, the music is very personal. And so, I encourage everybody to continue to always search for the new music and the new sounds and the artists that make you feel happy, right, and feel fulfilled. And that can be any genre. We've done studies with companies like Emotive that do that can monitor brainwaves, and we had cross sections of audiences, and we would play many different types of music for them to see which ones would make them mentally engaged, stressed, excited, sleepy, etc. And everyone was completely different. We found that some people, that are avid electronic music fans were completely at ease when they listened to the newest electronic music, the same way that certain people were who listened to the sounds of birds and nature and bells from temples were equally relaxed. However, we also do have a few playlists. We've created a YouTube playlist with a lot of the music you heard today on the YouTube/Tectonic Music, and also on Spotify. So we'll also share those links with you, and we'll continue to add music from myself and other Tectonic contributors that we feel will help you along your journey as well. So look out for those.
Thank you so much. And earlier on, you mentioned that some corporations like Alibaba and Google, they already would have music in their internal meetings. And this is actually quite new for us, many of us, I think. Would you mind share more about that?
Absolutely. Specifically, we found that having a musical moment at the very beginning of an event really kind of made a big difference in terms of people's energy and their engagement. So rather than just coming out and having, an opening plenary or an opening speech, by having, someone that aligns with the message of your event to come out and play some music, maybe even something that's created for the event, specifically, aimed at, elevating the energy of those who are in attendance at that event, really made a huge difference. Like we said, we found that people were much more awake, they were more attentive, they were more positive in their interactions and their willingness to connect with the content. Another time where it makes a lot of sense is kind of midday, right after like a coffee break or lunch break, when people are kind of kind of on the fence as to whether or not they actually want to still be at an event, and then that can kind of supercharge them and bring them back in the zone as well. So those are the two pinpoints that we have found have been really effective. And like I said, it doesn't have to always be the same type of music. It could be something that's very calm and kind of pensive, and allowing people to connect with something on a more slower and kind of emotional pace. It can also equally be something that is upbeat and meant to get everybody kicked into the mood there.
Certainly. Yeah. Wow. So great. And today we have the music, which is, I think, more calming, and I know that you actually have a lot of more on the hip hop side as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
We look forward for the chance to maybe have a more upbeat section with you. But for today, before we go to the meditation, any other tips or any other thoughts, particularly what we're going through now, that you would like to share with us?
I've said this in an interview recently. We worked with donating our music to about 20 different hospitals in the Hubei, Wuhan region, and they were asking what tips we had for the people that are in these epicenters of activity and of crisis. And I said I give them a lot of respect for their bravery, and for those who are not directly in the line of fire and not directly in harm's way, I would continue to recommend the same guidelines that we keep hearing. They only work if everybody adheres to them, and that can be as simple as staying home, practicing good hygiene, and being productive. Your productive energy is contagious as well. What you choose to learn, what you put in your body in terms of the content you consume, or the diet that you keep, all those things are resonant. And so I think it goes back to what we spoke about at the very beginning of this, keeping a regiment, keeping your goals in line with your actions, and we will get through this. A lot of people have wisely reminded us that the world has seen many tragedies and many similar crises as we are seeing now, and we have persevered, and we have graduated through those times, and we will get through these times as well.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. And I find that now that we have more time indoor, one thing I learned is actually I rediscovered a lot of the priorities. What we chased before may not really matter at this point of time, and the essential stuff, the essential people, the people we love, and what we really think is important now become much clearer. I think, I'm not sure, maybe this is the way that the world helps us to heal as well, to be rediscovering ourselves and the essential that we should focus on. So we have been very privileged to have a lot of time with you today. So why don't we have the last part of our section to have the meditation that you just mentioned earlier on. And I'm not sure whether we also have been lucky enough to have another final piece of music from you as well. And we can have the chat today.
Fantastic. Yes, and thank you, Priscilla, and thank you, Speakers Connect, for instigating and coming up with this idea, and keep it up. The world needs some, positive content and things worth learning. So, cheers to you. This last piece is something, that I started to compile in the last few weeks, while myself wanting to also be productive and be a contributor to society and to the world. So we've started putting music to the sound of relaxing waters from around the world. And we found that this, in research, people have found that white noise or constant sounds can help you when you need to tune out distraction. One case in point, very important, would be when you want to sleep. And that actually this can help babies as well as their minds are developing so that they can sleep without interruption. So this is the Healing Waves of Hawaii. And as we go into this, I would like to take this chance for everyone to ask themselves one simple question that they've been wondering. And you can take a moment and you can think about that as the music begins. And take a deep breath. And sit comfortably where you are. As you sit and breathe, feel free to leave your eyes open or close your eyes, depending on what's more comfortable for you. With each breath, with each inhalation, allow that air to heal wherever you may feel an ailment. If you have a headache or something that brings tension to your head, imagine a light shining from above through the crown of your head, allowing warm, healing light to enter. And with every slow, relaxed exhalation, allow yourself to let go of some of that tension, some of that stress. And as you become comfortable sitting where you are, comfortable with your breath, return to center and take that moment to ask yourself and ask the universe to help you answer at this time that simple question. Breathe deeply to your capacity. Enjoy the sensation as your rib cage and your diaphragm stretch. And allow the air to fill you with healing energy. Trust that your body knows what to do, and you are helping by giving it a little bit of energy and a little bit of love and a little bit of encouragement. just as when you are next to the sea, taking nutrients from the air and the mist. Trust that wherever you are, you too are taking nutrients and energy and healing from the air around you. And as you come back, remember and feel free to always revisit this time and this feeling we had together. And if you've enjoyed your time with us today, I encourage you to share this with as many people as possible so that they may feel the same benefit and the same joy and the same healing that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dana, for your energy, for your music, and for your generosity. This is the time that we be kind to ourselves, be kind to others, help each other out, and just share, and not focus just on ourselves. So, and today I would really love to thank all the friends who are with us on this live. This is our first attempt. I hope that you find it helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll be putting up more content with different speakers that we work with from around the world, and hope we can give you and get you more useful information down the road, and we'll get through this together. So thank you again for the time today. We'll see you very soon. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.